Everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would show some updates to this Klingon style ship, or bird of prey style ship, I should say. Um, been going through a few iterations here and trying to work out certain things. So this is a little bit beyond where I last showed it, basically building the general idea of its shape and things like that. So I started working on this area over here just to try to get in something, to try to figure out what I wanted it to look like and things like that. And I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I like what I got here. Maybe it could work, but it kind of, to me, it looked like, I don't know, like a 70s version or something. I'm not exactly sure. So anyway, I did that, and then I just kind of played around with a little bit of blocks around the top of where these launchers were put. Well, anyway, let's just move on here. This is really out of date. So next version. This one I changed around quite a bit. I ended up kind of rebuilding the cockpit area again. Started working on something here for the neck, and but more importantly, kind of filled in a lot of areas over here. I'm trying to get these areas to look like kind of big round parts, and then I'm also trying to make it look like there's essentially like big plating going across the sides over here. Now, also in this version here too, I started adding in a bunch of thrusters. So it got its lift thrusters, reverse thrusters, and strafing thrusters. Don't mind the forward thrust. That's not going to be where it's going. I set up this version so I could fly it and move it. Um, and it does move, but yeah, I still was not content on this front nose area and neck section. It wasn't really working too well. It's different approach again. I changed the way the glass was and the way everything was kind of set up here. And again, it could work, I suppose. It's just, yeah, I'm gonna be picky. So next version, I decided to try to make the front a little bit more aggressive. Change the angle. You can kind of see the angle on the previous version where it's kind of like it slopes down. This one kind of goes more pointy, I guess you could say. And then I worked on the rest of it, and I kind of made this area a little bit larger, and the neck's not as long and not as deep. I also widened the whole thing up. A little hard to tell from some of these angles here, but if I go over to the other one, you can see how skinny the neck portion was, and this one got basically wider. So this is where I'm at right now on the creation. I'm just trying to like dial in these things, trying to get it to work out. And this is essentially like the third different cockpit design from like the first one to the second one. And I can nickname these. This is the 70s version. This is the Mandalorian version. uh, the only reason I say that is if you imagine like a knight's helmet or something like that, and you got the slits for the eyes and the slit thing for the nose. That's kind of what this one was trying to do. And then this one kind of went more for the I don't know, fighter approach kind of thing, I guess. A little bit bigger. I do like the third one the best out of the three versions I've got so far, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to modify this some more to try to figure it out. And then on this one, though, I did get more block work on the bottom, and I'm starting to plug in more and more turrets and things. Now, something that might get removed, I got some launchers over in this front section here and these kind of things on the sides of the bridge area, and it's not really a great place to put launchers because they're close to the front of the ship, and that puts them in harm's way for sure. So I don't know if they're going to stay there. I was just trying to get something down in there to, I don't know, to look neat, I guess. So this one I obviously had some more blocks filled in and some more things going on here too. So it's coming along, but um, my next big thing too is addressing kind of like the original wing idea. I think I'm going to change the way I was going about that on this one, and maybe you know what? I'll just do that on this video. Let me set up something here. A second. Let me get the HUD back on, and I'll explain three things I want to do to the wing section. So I'll just work on one area of this here. So when I was looking at this, essentially what I want to see happen now, after more of this stuff has been done up, I was thinking about this lower section here, this lower plate piece. I kind of wanted to make it one more block kind of deeper, so it kind of angles out and goes down one block further this direction. Then I want to take this whole structure and move it forward one block, so about there, and so it'll be a little bit deeper, a little bit longer this way, and forward one space. And then I want to pretty much remove all this area and then build new wings from that come out on the back side at a 45-degree angle, or about like this, and then on the front side angle at about a 22.5-degree angle, about like this, I think is what I wanted. Yeah, something like that. Um, and then those will be flat, and they would actually come out a little bit wider to about this area over here. So that's kind of the idea on what I wanted to do here with this. So let's get started. This hopefully won't take too long. I'm not sure though. I got a few different little actions to do here. Let me get on the light, which is almost too bright to see anything. So I'll start here with trying to modify this, and I'm going to go pretty quick on this. Oops. If I hit, oh, come on. If I hit the right. Ah, I that happens to me quite a bit actually, where I'm like looking at, I'm hitting keys and the different keys on the keyboard, and then I go back to the ASDW and I'm like one key off, and then I accidentally dump anything I have equipped. It's not the first time I've ended up pulling that off. Okay, so say this came down like that. I guess I better keep the light on. And then let's try to angle this up here too. So I can't even see what I got going on though. Ugh. The lighting in space is kind of bad. Really is kind of bad. Um, it looks nice for some things, but other things just horrible. Like working on this, I don't think it's working out too well. Okay, so I'm going to try to get some beveled edge pieces in here. We'll get rid of that and pop in those. We can get rid of these in between blocks. This will probably hopefully smooth it out a little bit more too. I'm trying to use as many angles and things as I can, trying to keep things as smooth as possible. And kind of relating to this one too, what I kind of something I learned when building this ship, just by following your regular Star Trek designs and stuff. Though, is I went with these really big um, pieces that were quite shaped, but it's just using a lot of wedge blocks, for like this piece and even these pieces back here. And I kind of like that look and style. So what I'm doing on this ship is trying to get some of that in here as well, like these big shaped pieces. But then but I'm not quite as scared to add in some breakup, some more detailed things in the, or more choppy areas, I guess you could say, in the mix. So it's kind of like two things are going on basically. And I might not even have to move this whole piece, since I'm kind of building it out up this way as well. So let me just kind of keep on rolling with this. We'll get it to this point, and I'm going to just level that off like that then. And then on the bottom side, I think this could be kind of neat too. That'd give you a little bit more block space to kind of make a nice angled front on it there. Well, that actually accomplished what I was looking to accomplish. And I don't even have to actually move it, because it physically got bigger that way, which is all right. Definitely all right. So let me try to figure out the bottom here. Probably try to do a lot of the same kind of thing, except I actually wanted to pull this in a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe I'll start there and then run this angle through here. And also, I'm quite happy too. I have my new headphones now. I got them right after I did the video yesterday. Went and checked the front door, and there they were. And I was like, yes! So I can hear again, and I don't have a lot of problems that I did have before. So I'm pretty excited. It's the little things in life, I can hear what's going on in the game properly and comfortably. The other ones were comfortable headphones, but yeah, they just the audio part was totally messing up on them. So had to replace them. Okay, so let's do that. And I love, you know, when you're dealing with this particular angle wedge set, which I use a lot. I mean, there's this piece and this piece, and then the small piece here, but then it also intermixes with this piece and this one here too, if you want kind of more of a wedged angle, and those kind of fit in these spots here, which gives you some nice looking edges if you can, you know, find the right place on a creation to put these kinds of things. Oops. So we'll do that. And also what I've been doing too, just as a standard, like I did on a lot of the recent ships, is these really small blocks that already are covered. Like you already got a hardened steel block here and here. So this just lays on top of it. To try to reduce the weight, I've been basically taking like carbon substrate and running those on like these little ones in the middle, essentially. So now this doesn't quite line up here. So let me just do this last row here. And here we're just going to go straight angled in. Something like that. I guess, yeah, a lot of these blocks don't need to be here anymore. Once I get to the interior of this eventually too, a lot of these blocks can go away that are still here. And we'll just put, whoops, come on. There we go. Turn that way for now. Okay, so that kind of took care of that piece, and I no longer need to copy and paste it. So let's just generically paint this in. I basically set it to smooth. I've just been setting it to white, and then replace all. So I can just do that, and it's done. And then you gotta hit the carbon the same way. All right, so that part. Now, what does that look like? Okay, I think I'm okay with that yet. All right, so next part is want to make a angle that comes out at a 22.5 wedged over here. So what block should I use first for this? Can either use one of two different angle sets. Man, keep on fat fingering things here. Let me try to get this rotated in the right way. Nope, that's backwards, so it would have to be like this. Okay, so let's say we started about right there. And all this can go bye-bye. Get the light on again. Yeah, that's a problem. Maybe I should fill this in with a different color besides white. It's so glary that I want to turn off the light a lot, but then then it can also get too dark to see. Okay, so we'll start with this. We'll just kind of drag this out. Something like that. I don't know if I'm quite doing this right or not. I guess we'll look at it. And like even the last build too. I mean, if I don't like something, I'll just do it again until I get to a point where I think it looks all right. So even if I try something like this and I'm like, I thought it was going to look better than it ended up looking, then it's like, well, okay, let's just come up with something else then. And I like to try to get this part done because honestly, once I'm content with the body and the body's there, that's probably only about I don't know, a fifth to a quarter of the total time it's going to take to complete the whole project. So I just soon put in the extra time on this part and try to get it right. That's a big thing. Okay, so we got an angle there. God, I almost think that ought to be backed off though. Like it's too far forward. No. All right. I could either copy and paste it on both sides or just rebuild it. I think I'm going to go with the rebuilding plan this time. 'Cause that wasn't much. It'd probably take me longer to copy and paste it. So let's do it all again. I'll erase that and move it here instead. If I had this more finished off, I would have definitely used the copy and pasting though. So in this case, I didn't think it was going to be a time saver at all. If you kind of do it this way too, then when you switch to that other block to do the fill-in stuff, it goes pretty quick. I don't know how far I want this to go out yet. Okay, so all this part goes away too, so that's not going to be a thing anymore. Now I was looking at quite a few different images of various Klingon bird of prey ships and Klingon ships in general, just to get some ideas. I'm still going to have to do a lot of experimenting with the texturing aspect of this. Oh, that's not right either. Okay, let's get these filler, or these little pieces in here. All right, and then the back. So here I wanted it to run at a 45-degree angle. So let's try this set here. It's a little different than I used on the front. And how far back should these start? Two, that's another thing. And maybe this angle isn't right. Maybe this whole thing, it should be 22.5 degrees in this way and not that way. I think I might have got that wrong, but we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so let's say it would start about here, and this would be at a 45. So, oh, just kind of, a lot of times I'll just use the same block as a temporary placement so I can place the block I need, then I just remove it, basically. And this one I'm going to try using this other slice corner A2 wedge here to make it a little bit more curvy. See what that looks like, going like that. Let's put in little triangle here for the filler. And then get rid of all this stuff down here below. For now. Oops. So what does a wing like that look like? Yeah, you know, maybe that is right. Maybe that is right. That angled forward, I think, actually is the way you'd want it. Now, it's possible that this ship could get some more launchers placed out on the wingtips, too. That is something that a lot of the Klingon ships will do. So I won't feel out of place or anything like that. All right, and this wing area at least can benefit from being kind of flat, which is kind of nice in this case. One big problem is trying to do double angles. Like if I wanted this to have this angled slope here and also pivot down at like maybe a 22.5 degree that way, the blocks break down and you can't seem to achieve that with the blocks that are available in the game. I've tried that before multiple times and it never works out. Just can never get that really to work. Okay, so let's say, oh, no, let's not do that there. Let's go out one more here. And then, oops, that one there. And then we'll drag a line to here and try to get this to wedge up here. Is that a word? That ain't gonna do it. How would I want to pull this off? If we just had this here, there is a block that'll fit here, I do believe. We can just go back to this angle set and put that there. And let's just do, again, trying to make this look like there's separate chunks to the wing here. I'm thinking I'm purposely going to try to do a thing here to make it look separated more. Like maybe I'll use this block on the edge to a point at least. To about there. Let's just kind of fill some of that in a second. And then down over here, just try to put blocks there for now and see what that looks like. Again, I was trying to make it look like the breakup that I had over these other two metal chunk pieces, I guess you could say, or plating or something like that. But I think actually I did this wrong. That should go a little bit underneath. let me take these blocks out here. Ooh, I'm not gonna be able to get the right one in the corner though. Hold on, let me get the one of these here. You know, that's not gonna work unless it's not for now. I'll think about that later. So let's paint you in. I'm just kind of looking at the overall shape of it right now, not so much the detailing aspect of it. Put a couple more of these in here too. So I'm basically kind of looking down from the top, trying to figure out how that's going to work. A lot of these, yeah, these birds of prey had some pretty wide wingspans on them. And yeah, some of them do angle in more this way too. That's what I was kind of trying to achieve with that. And let's just say beyond this particular wing point here, that there's also something down here. We'll just say here, not that this is going to go here like this right now, but we'll just say that there's like a launcher or something there, and then that this would be covered up one way or another, so it would be sticking out a little bit further yet um, over that section. I was just kind of looking at it as trying to get that top profile in there. So yeah, well, that's kind of how it was before, and then after. I think this is a little bit more closer to the look I was going for. But I think this area here would end up being a little bit bigger though, and also I got to start thinking about like other things like landing gear. But I don't think it's going to be that difficult on this creation. Here, let's get rid of a bunch of unneeded blocks here. Oops. So I took out one thing too many here. Okay. That doesn't need to be there. So yeah, something like that. And this is kind of typically how I work on these things. I'll like look at it for a little bit, try to figure out an area, try to figure out, you know, what steps could I take to try to improve that area, and then try it. And if it fails, I'll rethink it a little bit, try it again with something maybe a little different. Same thing, same idea here. I'll get symmetry back off. So that's kind of the building part I wanted to show today. I'm kind of all right with that. I guess what's going to be really important to me is this very front on view here. How do these wings and this whole structure play out looking at it like straight on like this? I've seen some of these in at least a couple one of the more recent movies where it's kind of flying like this and you could kind of see the wing profile, and in some cases it almost looks like the wings would kind of like bend in and then twist up a little bit this way, but I can't do the angles really for that. So that would make it well, I kind of, but not very nicely, put it that way. So yeah, anyway, I think it's getting closer. I think it's getting closer to the look I wanted. Maybe the wings aren't quite big enough yet, or something like that. So other steps I'm gonna have to do too is I'll probably end up refining this cockpit area some more. Now it's starting to look a little too bulky over on the sides, maybe. But then I got to give it some forward thrust and some down thrust as well, and then figure out some more turret locations and things like that. Now, um, I was thinking originally when I started doing this, I was thinking, well, maybe I'll try to like match this to like the combat, the type of weaponry, or well, the so it would be like an even match between the Proxima and whatever this ends up being. And now I'm thinking I'm gonna change my mind on that. This one it's quite a bit smaller. Versus, I mean, it's I think it's about proportionally sized to what your enterprise type ship would be over here versus like your like a bird of prey, I think, in proportion to one another. But I would from lure and everything like that, this one of these should easily be able to take on a bird of prey and beat it. Now, if it was fighting multiples or there's other tactics involved, things could be different. But I think that this should not be as powerful as what this is. It's a smaller vessel and things like that. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this equipped to about somewhere around half the armament as what this one had, or well, maybe a little bit more than half. But like this has 16 launchers on it. This may have 8 to 10 launchers on it. This has 30 turrets on it. This will have probably about 15 to 16 turrets on it. So something like that. The biggest thing I would like to deal with is, I love those fusion reactors for Reforged Eden, and the fact that they um, also help with shield recharge, and this is going to have a shield. Um, but it probably doesn't need it. It's actually it's going to be running less thrusters too. So that's the thing. This has four forward XL thrusters, four lift XL thrusters, and three XL strafing thrusters per side. Where this is probably going to have two strafing thrusters per side. It still does have the four XL lift thrusters in here. But I was debating if I really wanted to remove one of those and only have it have two. I don't know. These are a lot of things I don't know. Two might not be cool if you're going to try to move storage and stuff with you. But one thing I did want to do is I wanted to take this reverse thruster here and I wanted to recess it back so I could get the metal grating pieces over it and basically try to cover it up. It makes it safer. But what I'm talking about is like putting like something like this over the front of it, but that has to stick out a good 2-3 blocks in front of the thruster to make that happen. And right now, there is no room to do that, to add those metal grates unless the entire assembly here was made larger. But if I were to remove something out of the sides, whether that is a strafing thruster or a lift thruster, I could push this back further into the ship, and then I could put the metal grating in front of that. Um, Now, CPU wise, now keep in mind this doesn't have like anything mounted in it right now. It doesn't have any power. On this version, it doesn't have warp, shield, nothing really but thrusters. And I'm already going to run out of CPU, even with what it's got going on. I don't even have forward thrusters on here yet. It's amazing how quickly you just shoot through that CPU with thrusters, especially these XL thrusters that are kind of needed because everything's so heavy in Reforged Eden. If you don't use those on anything that weighs anything at all, it's not going to move. So that's kind of the reason, and I also think they're a better looking thruster than the smaller counterparts. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with this. Just a lot of planning and thinking about what do I want this to be, and since it's kind of like in the same era, well, genre of being Star Trekky, I kind of want it to fit well. Like if this was a Klingon bird of prey in the shows. Fighting one of these, I think that this would probably pretty easily win. But two or three of these fighting this these would probably win then. So, it all depends. But in the end of the day, I want this to look neat, aggressive, kind of frightening. And just trying to get as much Klingon as I can into it. And some of the artwork that I'm looking at on this I'm looking at some like newer rendered models of some really really cool looking stuff. And I'll try to show that on the next video. I got to set up OBS a little bit different so I can show some pictures along the way. I think that would be really helpful. So you kind of know where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to accomplish here with this particular version of it. And again, it's not a replica, it's my own design, but obviously heavily influenced on a Klingon bird of prey design, which have fluctuated quite a bit from one model to another over time. And I kind of like the newer ones better than the older ones. The older ones, again, like I was first trying to go have that look. Even I don't know why, but for whatever reason, this design here it screams like 70s. I don't know why it does. It just like 70s sci-fi action. And this one here is like just weird not necessarily. It doesn't. I don't know. It's hard to. And this one's looking a little bit more like a some kind of jet fighter ish. Although it looks a little bit like an alligator right now too. So that's kind of part of the reason why I wanted to change a couple things on it. Maybe it's these little half angled wedge blocks I put in there for, I don't know, whatever reason that looks like nostrils or something. I don't know. Something's setting it off there. I want to kind of lose that alligator look. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I just kind of wanted to show you a little bit of the building process on this and what goes through my head and why I do these. Well, not really why I do these things. I don't even know why I do these things, but it's fun. It's fun. It's entertainment. And I'm a pretty creative kind of person, so I like to create things for sure. Anyway, that's all I've got for today's video. Just curious on your opinions, thoughts. I gained a lot of knowledge from comments building this. I went with a lot of the ideas and comments and things, suggestions that were brought up, and it really helped the ship. I was gonna I was gonna totally screw it up right off the gates by not running that fusion reactor in here, thinking I didn't need it. And now I'm like on the same camp with this ship. Like I want to put the fusion reactor in here, but it it doesn't need that much power. But I love the shield recharge thing, and with Reforge Eden, I undoubtedly would have to at least run two of those XL, or not XL, but the largest 2x2x6 generators. And if I did that, that's 300,000 CPU, and I don't get the shield recharge. And if you needed more power for whatever reason later, you're probably not going to have any places to put any more power generation unless I made it equip that or made it allow that. And that is something I was thinking about doing is like, can I make a room that can nicely fit like 2 to 4 2x2x6 generators or be swapped out and replaced with a fusion reactor and make it look nice. The big problem is the fusion reactors are only 5 blocks high, where the other things are 6 blocks high, so they don't directly line up. But I do have room in the ship for that kind of thing. And on the interior space of the ship, it's going to have quite a bit less than what the Proxima has. But I do, if you take a look at the central area in here, I do have room for like a fusion reactor or even one or two of the large shield parts. So yeah, I'll have to mix and match. I have to figure out, how this thing should come stock. For a little while there, I was thinking, and maybe I still will. Maybe I could get this to operate at least stock on at 2.1 million CPU, but the way popping in these thrusters is just killing it. And as soon as I add in forward thrust on here and down thrust, which I don't have yet, there's no way. There's just no way I can do 2.1 million CPU again. It's just thrusters take far too much to pull that off. And well, these kind of thrusters. I guess if I went with all the medium ones, but yeah, it would suck. It would barely move, unless it was built on a carbon substrate or something. But I don't feel right. I don't feel right building any kind of creation, especially designed for combat, built out of plastic. It defies all reality to me, unless it was like some kind of super material that's super strong and hard and light. I could see that, but not not with the materials that are in the game. It just doesn't feel right. I can get away. You could get away with like a miner or something built out of cargo extensions or something like that. But man, the idea of like making a whole ship's body in plastic that's super weak just doesn't. I never liked that idea, so I've never actually done that. Anyway, that's all I've got for today, and let me know what you think. And have a great weekend, by the way, as well. See you later.